Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with a double hop, bloom like a flower, and may I scraplift you. I am so excited that I was able to incorporate these together, and the person that I am scraplifting today is Sharon Brockman, or Brockman. Sorry if I butchered your name. On Instagram, she is at S. Brockman, and I will have that linked below, and it should be also in the title. There it is right there. And her layout, like my layout from yesterday, has lots of circles. Maybe I was just feeling the circles that day. I pulled in my Creative Memories circle punch and decided I would use that instead of cutting circles on my Cricut. I have these two pictures, just like she does on her layout, that are actually horizontal. And they're, one is me and my daughter at a wedding, and then the cake table from the wedding. And I decided that I was going to use my Chamel Never Grow Up. I have the 6x8 paper pad. I barely touched it, and there are lots of florals in there to work with. I have this Obed Marshall Buenos Dias stencil that is floral. See, the bloom like a flower, that's where I'm going. And then that 12 by 12 paper that I'm using is a Sunshine and Good Times by Amy Tangerine paper, and that's the B side. And then I have those Paper Studios florals, and then I have some Chamel Never Grow Up. Some of that is from the paper collection, and some of that is from the thickers. And then I have my mixed media, and I actually pull in some other mixed media other than just my Distress Oxides. And I have my Distress Texture Paste Crackle by Tim Holtz. So I have all these fabulous goodies, this neat stencil, my texture paste, my Creative Memories, my cute pictures, and this awesome layout. So let's see how this goes. So I decided that I was going to add a little something to this layout. And so I used my stencil, and I used the Tim Holtz Distress Texture Paste in Crackle. And I've never used it before. I literally just opened the package before I started this video. So I get that in there, and I am very new to this kind of mixed media. I'm pretty good with some Distress Oxides. I'm pretty good with a stamp pad. Not stamps, but a stamp pad. I'm working on the stamping. And so this is probably just like my third or fourth layout I've used this texture paste with. So I am definitely learning. I'm in the process of learning how to do this neatly. So you'll see that I make a little mess, and it's impressive to me that this is probably one of the most time-consuming layouts I've done in a while, and I somehow cut this video down to like 14 minutes or less. So I put that little bit of the texture paste in the top left and the bottom right, and then I do just a small little strip on the sides. And I know that some of this is going to get covered up with the circles and the pictures, and I'm okay with that. I just was wanting to add texture and florals to this paper, and so I thought this was the best way to do it. Originally, I thought I'd cover the whole thing, but I didn't want to do that because I know where the stencils meet up ends up making a big disaster. So there it is with the texture paste, and I should have brought it up closer for you to see before I paint the florals, but I set it aside so it would dry, and of course my paper is going to curl up on me. So I get out the 6x8 paper pad by Chamel, and I pick out one is a scrap and two are some florals, and I feel like the colors are going to go well together, and they're going to go with the florals, those Paper Studio florals that I had pulled out and shared earlier, because there's some teal and purple in that one floral especially. So I get all of that out, and I just start making the circle punches, and I'm using the 1.5 inch, which is the largest of the circle punches I have. If I want anything bigger, I got to use my Cricut, and while I'm perfectly capable of doing that, I decided that I would use the smaller circles and go from there. Now, I have put a bunch of different inks, mostly alcohol inks, in my little Tim Holtz paint holder. And I just started painting the flowers instead of like 2 days ago when May I Scraplift You, I did like I used texture paste, and then I did a big paint all the way down and just let the texture take the ink, and then there was paint everywhere, and it was fine. I love the way that it looked. I was doing a scrap lift, and I thought it looked great. So this was something a little different, and I really only used a little bit of my Distress Oxides that I pulled out originally. So you can see all of those colors up in the top corner. I think there were 8 up there in the top corner that I use. And then there's a couple down in the bottom, the purple and some blue. And if I had extra left over in the little pot or on my brush, I just kind of tapped it out just to add a little more color to this layout. And I really just went with all sorts of different colors. I didn't really care if it matched what I was putting down because there's a ton of colors in the florals. And, it all goes together in the end because, when you look outside, the flowers are all different colors. So I cut the circles and lay them down, and I'm doing this without worrying about the fact that the pictures are going to cover, because right now all I'm doing is laying them out. I wanted to make sure I had enough. So I get them and I alternate. There's 3 different patterns, and of course the one pattern of those big florals is different on every one of those. So I get them all on there, and I like the way they look, and so I pick them up. And then I'm going to get my picture down first. And then I leave the picture, it's matted and tacked down on the sides and straight down the middle. And I use some double-sided tape, but I also use my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because the right and left side are both going to be on that crackle texture paste. So I get it tacked down for the instant stick with that adhesive, and then I put the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive as a long-term stick, and that way I can tuck the circles in and I'm not wasting. I hate putting things down and then completely covering them. I knew, like with the texture paste, that I was going to be covering up something, and then the one on the left side, it covers quite a bit of it. Actually, I think there's like one flower that's showing, and I'm okay with that. But I don't like putting things that I definitely can control the circles. So I put the picture down, and then I go in and just tuck. So if I had lost more than that of the circle, I probably would have cut the circle in half. But, I'm all about saving my paper. And I did decide to pull out my double-sided tape for this instead of using my tape runner over there because I have a lot of the double-sided tape and I don't want to run out of the adhesive in the gun. Oh my gosh, you all, it is after midnight. The layout took me an hour and a half and I am tired. It has been probably the longest 2 weeks of my life. So I work in a school and it's 12 school days before the end of the year and it is crazy. So, needless to say, I am exhausted. So I did the first line, and then I go and do the second one, or the one all the way on the other side. That way I can kind of make them even. Now, I know there's going to be a big gap here between the second and the third one, because I don't want to mess with the florals. Like, I only wanted to put 2 there, and I wanted the other one to go straight down the middle. And I figured I could just use these florals right here to fill that space so that it's not as obvious that there's this massive hole. And then I move things around a little because I want to put my title here. She has her title in the bottom of the right picture, and I do like that, and it would have worked for this layout because of the picture. There's a big gap at the bottom underneath that table, but the way that I wanted to cover that space because of that big gap, I decided to use this thicker from Chamel and it says The Wonder of It All, and it's got little leaves on it, so that fits with the floral theme too. And so my plan is to put that up there and use some of the florals to help fill in that gap. And then I also want to add the little birdie, mostly because the birdie is on the layout in some of the paper, and it matches and goes with the theme. Plus it's a circle, which I've cut a bunch of, so I felt like it was a fitting layout to put it on. So I get this down. I do use some Nuvo Deluxe on here. It was pretty sticky, but I didn't want to risk it. So I put that down, and then there's just enough space for this teal floral or aqua. And then I put a little purple one on there too, because it's not covering anything. There's some people in the background, but I don't even know who they are. And then I just kind of put the other few. I only had 3 big ones and 3 small ones, or 4 small ones left, because I used the other ones on a layout I did the other day. So I just kind of stick them in different places, kind of continuing the florals that I have already put down with the texture paste. And that crackle texture paste, I'm going to use that again and not ink it, because it is so cool looking because of the way it, well, crackles. It just looks like, you know, it's super distressed, and it's really neat looking, and so I will use that again for sure. So I pull out these Dear Lizzie enamel dots, because they're actually not dots, they're little flowers, and I hope you can see it in the close-ups because they kind of disappear a little. That hot pink one will stand out more, but I put 3 little floral enamel flowers down right there above the table with the cake. And then she had in her layout this like little piece of washi tape over here, and so I went ahead and pulled a floral that I thought would match and put a little piece on both sides, not in the same place. One's up a little bit higher, and I did it on purpose. I just wanted to have that there. And then I pull some of my Paper Studios enamel dots in yellow and green and do a little cluster of 3 underneath the picture of me and my daughter, and a cluster of 3 over there underneath the picture of the cakes. And originally I was going to put it above, but it's so close to those little floral enamels, I didn't want to take away from those. So it gives you that 3 points of the triangle. And then, let's see, after that, oh, I'm going to show you the close-up of her sketch again, or her layout. And like I said, her name is Sharon. I think it's Barackman, and she is on Instagram. If she's on YouTube, I couldn't find her, but definitely check her out. She had a lot of great layouts. I had a hard time picking out what I wanted to scrap lift. So you can kind of see in like that pink flower, the distress and those, and that crackle paste is so neat. So I definitely plan there those the close-ups of those little enamel flowers too. I plan on doing some more work with this crackle paste because it is super cool. And I hope that you all will check all the awesome people who are hopping along with the Bloom Like a Flower, as well as May I Scraplift You. They will be listed below. I hope I get them all, but there are a lot of people playing along. So I hope you'll come back and see me again tomorrow for Scraplift Crafternoon. And I hope that you have an amazing day. Happy scrapping!